this session. Remember that all the sessions we held are going to be recorded in order for you to share, ¿no? I'm going to share all the recordings every week. Recuerdo que todas y cada una de las sesiones se graba porque así como yo les envío una invitación cada semana para las web, también les envío las grabaciones después. Okay, so we are going to start right now. Hello, Kian. How are you doing today?
Hello, teacher. I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, what about you? Can you speak?
Yes, teacher.
Okay. Erica, good morning, Erica.
Hi, teacher.
How are you doing
Are
today?
you? Okay, I was studying English with some activities of the Unit 1.
Okay, you're studying the ebook?
The ebook, yes, in the ebook.
Okay. Okay, guys, so we're going to start. Yes? Okay, we're going to start doing I'm going to share my screen in order for you to look at what I have prepared for you today. We're going to start with a little exercise with about pronunciation. This is the first exercise we are going to do today. It's about pronunciation. And in English, we have some silent letters. We have some silent letters. It means that there are some letters that we don't pronounce, okay? We don't pronounce some letters in some words. So, for example, we have here a group of words where there is a letter that we don't pronounce. For example, the first one, the first group, this one, here we don't pronounce the letter B. That's why we say that there is a silent B. We don't pronounce the B in these words, okay? For example, I say bomb, climb, come, cram, dead. Listen to me, dead, doubt. Listen to me, I'm not pronouncing the letter B. Dead, doubt, dumb, lamb, limb, numb. Okay? We don't pronounce the letter B in this group of words. Okay? And we have here the silent T. Here, in these letters, we don't pronounce the letter T. So we say basher. I don't say basher, no. You don't have to say that. Basher, no. Basher. Here, castle, castle, Christmas, fasten, hustle, listen, mash, mortgage, nestle, often, okay? We don't pronounce the letter T in these words. Now, we don't pronounce the H. Maybe you have learned that the letter H is pronounced like a J in Spanish, no? For example, when we find the word house, no? House. The first letter is an H, and we pronounce that house, house. But here, in this group of words, we don't pronounce the H. So, ghost, honest, honest, hour, mechanic, wreath, scheme, school, what, when, where, okay? Now, the silent K, we don't pronounce the K, this group of words. So we say ni, nu, knickers, knife, night, knit, knitting, knob, knock, not, okay? And the last one, we have a group of words where the W is not pronounced. We don't pronounce the W letter here in this group of words. So answer, sort, 2. The number, no? This is the number 2. Call, rack. Hey, look at this. For example, in this word, we don't pronounce the W. We start with the R. Rack, rack, wrap, wrist, wrinkle, wreck, ren. Okay. Okay, we are going to try to pronounce this group of words. Okay. We're going to do this exercise. I'm going to, okay. So we have 3 people. We have Erica, Kiara, and Santiago. We are going to start with Kiara. Kiara, please. You are going to pronounce this group of words. Okay, Kiara?
Right, teacher. It's butcher, hustler, Christmas, fasten, hustler, listen, match, mortgage, Nestle. Okay, Nestle.
Okay.
Often.
Yes, for example, here we don't pronounce the T, so we say often, often, okay? Okay, in this one, this part of the word is the same here and here and here. And we pronounce similarly, castle, hassle, nestle, okay? Castle, hustle, nestle, okay? Remember, we don't pronounce the T. So here, basher, okay, basher. Okay, good, Kiara. Now, we are going to continue with Erica. Please, Erica, you are going to pronounce this group of words where there is a silent K, okay?
Okay. Ni, no, knickers, knife, night, knit, knitting, knob, knock, nut.
Okay, good. Yes?
A question, please. Only this group of words have silent K or silent
No.
H, or
There are more.
there are more. Okay.
There are
And
some examples, only some examples, but there are more words where there is a silent K or a silent H or T, but there are more words, okay?
And how we know when we have to pronounce with silent K, for example.
Okay, that's why the English is very difficult taking into account the pronunciation, because there are not strict rules of pronunciation.
Okay.
In this language, in English language, there are not strict rules of pronunciation. So, for example, you are going to say, I'm going to give you this example. We have here 2 words. There are similar words. There is, if I'm going to spell, I have to say K-I-N-D. And this one, K-I-N-G. Okay? It's a very, there are two similar words, okay? The only difference is the letter, the final letter, D or G. But when you are going to pronounce, it's completely different. Here, we say kind. And here, we say king. Okay? That's why English is difficult. When we are learning English, the grammar, it's easy. The grammar, it's easy. But the pronunciation is too difficult because of that. Because there are not strict rules. When we
Okay.
say, for example, you always find an H at the beginning of a word, it always pronounced like this. No, that's not correct. Okay? It's
Okay.
different in French, in German, in Spanish, in other languages, because in those languages, there are strict rules of pronunciation. And they say, when you find E, you pronounce like this. When you find G, you pronounce like this. In English, no. We have to learn. We have to learn how to pronounce each word.
And practice. Okay, okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yes. Okay. Okay, let's going to continue. Santiago, are you there?
Yeah, teacher.
Okay, Santiago, please, you are going to pronounce the silent W. This one, the last group of words. Please.
Okay. Answer, sort, to, hold, rack, wrap, wrist, winkle, rack, rand.
Okay, good. Remember, maybe the first one, answer, no? Answer. Sometimes you listen to people that say answer, no, answer, no, answer, answer. Okay, very good. Kiara, next, this group of words.
Yeah, okay. Bomb, clam, comb, crumb, depth, I'm sorry, doubt, dumb, lamb, limb, numb.
Okay, this is very easy because we don't pronounce the last letter. We say bomb, climb, come, cram. Very easy, okay? But this one, that, doubt, no? That, it doubt, that, it doubt.
Usually when some words finish with T, we have to like improve, or I don't know how can I say that, but put more strong the pronunciation, the T in the last of
Yes.
words.
Yes, in English, the final letters are very important. The final letters are very important. For example, sometimes in some words, many words, we emphasize on that sound, on the final sound. For example, what? You have to pronounce what, no? Ghost, honest, okay? You don't say honest, no, honest. You don't say ghost, no, ghost. You have to pronounce that final sound. But here, I say there are not strict rules. These cases, this final letter, we don't pronounce. You say bomb, climb, come. But here, we emphasize in that final sound. Ghost, what, honest. Okay, you have to very careful with that. We have to emphasize on those words. Okay, let's continue. Erika, we're going to pronounce the last group of words where there is an silent H.
Okay. Ghost, honest, hour, mechanic, rhythm, scam, school, what, when, where.
Okay. If we don't emphasize in the final letter, for example, we can not differentiate these words. When, where. The difference is the last letter. When, where, no? When, where. If we don't pronounce properly this sound, we are going to be confused. Okay, so that's why it's very important. Okay, so This is
So,
an
teacher,
exercise. Yes, tell me.
I have a question. I have a little, I feel a little confused when those words is where and where, but with when you say we were, you know, where,
Ah,
donde, y where of
yeah, this
the
one,
complement.
this one.
Yes.
The information question and the passive verb to be. Okay. Sometimes we find this, for example, very important. We can find this question: where were you born? Okay. When were you born? And you have both words are very, very, very similar, and sometimes we pronounce similar. Where were you born? When were you born? Yes. What happened here? There are some words that we can understand or we can identify thanks to the context. Okay. It's important to take into account the context because some words are very, very similar like this one. Okay. Maybe in another session we are going to do an exercise like this, where we are going to put two words like are very similar, but we're going to try to differentiate them, like this case, okay? But the most important thing here is to take into account the context, the sentence where the word is, okay? Because the pronunciation is quite similar. It's quite similar. Okay. For example, this word maybe most of the times we use at the beginning of a question. Okay. And this is different because you use this as a verb in the middle of a sentence. Okay. But as I said, we have to take into account the context. Okay, Kiara?
Yes, teacher, like for logic.
Repeat, please, Kiara.
Like for logic, like you know that what are people saying for the context of the word, the sentence, complex sentence. You know
Yes.
what, you know the order of the words, and you know that you put some explicit words in the sentence.
Yes, it's very important. That's why, for example, when we are reading a text, we sometimes identify the meaning of a word thanks to the context, no? Because a word can have different meanings. The same word can have different meanings, but according to the context, you are going to identify the meaning of that word in that reading. Okay, that's why it's very important to take into account the context. We don't extract the word from the sentence. No, we have to look at the sentence, look at the reading, the text where the word is, and we are going to identify what is the meaning of that word. Because a word can have 2, 3, 4 minutes. Okay, 4 minutes. And that's important to say that, to think, to take into account that. Hay entonces una claridad. Las palabras, los idiomas son muy similares. Así como en el español encontramos una palabra que tiene 3, 4 significados, en el inglés también encontramos este tipo de palabras. Y ese tipo de palabras nosotros nos tenemos que identificar el significado dentro del contexto. O sea, dentro de esa oración, ¿qué significa esa palabra, no? Porque si nosotros la sacamos solita, entonces nosotros sabemos que esto significa algo, pero de pronto en ese contexto tiene otro significado, ¿no? Otro significado. Es importante tener en cuenta eso, ¿no? Por ejemplo, o sea, son ejemplos que yo doy y que muchas veces los reitero. Nosotros tenemos una frase like this, a piece of cake, a piece of cake. O sea, si nosotros sacamos esa frase del contexto, vamos a decir a piece of cake. Oh my God, that's a piece of cake. un pedazo de torta. But in a dialogue, in a role play, in a conversation, a piece of cake has a totally different meaning. No? Piece of cake means something very easy. Okay? Something very easy. That's a piece of cake. When a person says, oh, that's a piece of cake, he is saying that something is very, very easy. Okay, do you understand, guys?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, so that's why it's important to take into account to base it on the context. Okay, good. Okay, let's continue. And now we are going to watch a video. We are going to watch a video today. This is a video where, okay, but I'm going to stop sharing here because I need to share the sound. This one, not this one. This one. We are going to watch this video. In this video, it's going to be explaining the difference between American and British accent. Remember that in English, we have two big accents or two important accents. It's American and British, but there are other accents. For example, New Zealand, Jamaican accent, Australian accent, Canadian accent, Irish accent, but the most important are American and British. And we are going to take into account, we're going to see the difference and the items. What are the difference? Okay, so we're going to watch this video by parts, step by step. And I'm going to make some explanations about that. Please, could you tell me if you can watch the video and listen to the video?
American English versus British English.
Yes, teacher.
Vocabulary.
Yes? Okay, I'm going to start the game. I'm going to play the game.
American English versus British English. Vocabulary differences. Trash can.
Rubbish bin.
Cell phone.
Mobile phone.
Elevator.
Lift.
Subway.
Tube or underground.
Fall.
Autumn.
Restroom, bathroom.
Toilet. Loo.
French fries.
Chips.
Apartment.
Flat.
Pronunciation.
Okay, so the first item or the first difference between
American English
and
versus British English.
is related to
American English
vocabulary.
versus British English.
The vocabulary. That's the first group of difference, the vocabulary. In American English, we say something with one word. In British English, we use a different word. A few years ago, the teacher said, okay, we are going to learn British English, or we are going to learn American English. Nowadays, it doesn't happen because we can learn American and British English at the same time, okay? Because we have now the opportunity to watch series, to watch movies, to listen to music, American and British at the same time, okay? And we have to take into account that there are some difference between those accents, okay? We can find a reading written in American English, or we can find a reading written with British English, and we have to try to understand. When we watch a movie, we have to try to understand the people who are speaking. It doesn't matter if it's American or British. For us, for Colombian people, it's easier to understand American English. The British English is more difficult. It's more difficult to understand. because the pronunciation is quite difficult. It's quite difficult. But we have here some examples about the vocabulary.
Vocabulary differences.
So,
Trash can.
for example,
Rubbish bin.
in American English, they say cell phone. In British English, they say mobile phone. Okay? But you and me, we can use cell phone or mobile phone, and both are correct. Okay? Both are correct. You can say my cell phone is 315706988. Or I can say my mobile phone is 315. It doesn't matter. Both of them are correct. But you have to take into account that if you listen to a person who says, my cell phone is, maybe he is American. Or if you listen to a person that says, my mobile phone is, that person comes from UK, okay? That's why we have to take into account these differences, And you have to start identifying the person who is talking. Es importante que ustedes aprendan a identificar cuando están escuchando el inglés americano y cuando el inglés británico, ¿no? La pronunciación es bien diferente. Ahorita la vamos a ver ya en cuanto a pronunciación. Pero entonces, como les digo, cualquiera de las dos está bien. Ahora, si ustedes encuentran cell phone, no es que van a decir, no, es que lo está utilizando mal o esa palabra no es, sino que es mobile phone o lo contrario. Ambas son correctas y podemos usar cualquiera de las dos. ¿Ok?
Cell phone.
Mobile phone.
Elevator.
Lift.
Subway.
Tube or underground.
Fall.
Esta palabrita, mire, fall y autumn es una palabra.
Rubbish bin.
Elevator.
Lift.
Era la estación fall or autumn.
Subway.
Tube or underground.
You know that
Fall.
that we have 4 seasons. Here, not. In Europe and the United States, they have 4 seasons. And one of them is fall for American people, and that is autumn for British people. Okay?
Autumn.
Restroom. Bathroom.
Toilet.
In American English, when you need to go to pee, you can say, I need a restroom or I need a bathroom. But when you are with British people, they are going to say, I need a toilet or I need a loo. A loo, no? A loo.
Loo.
French fries.
This is very common. French fries. You can say papa fritas, you can say French fries or chips. It doesn't matter. Both of them are correct. But if you are in the United States, for example, the menu, it's going to say French fries. But if you are in UK, in England, in Ireland, okay, and you are going to eat this food, you are going to find chips. And there is a very, very, very famous dish in United Kingdom that is fish and French fries. And fish and chips, fish and chips. It's a very, very famous dish in the United Kingdom, fish and chips. Have you heard about that dish, that food?
Yes, in my case, yes.
Okay, yes, fish
Yes.
and chips. It's very common. The fish, you know what is the fish, but the fish is something like roasted, no? Roasted fish and chips like this. It's a very common to find in the United Kingdom.
Chips.
Apartment.
Flat.
Okay, this one.
Pronoun-
For example, you say, I live in an apartment or I live in a flat. You can say that. Both of them are correct. Okay. But you are watching an American series and people are going to say, oh, I live in an apartment. But you are watching a British series and you are going to listen to the people saying, I live in a flat. Okay, I live in a flat. And it happens the same in all the languages. For example, in Spanish, from Spain, they say piso. Yo vivo en un piso. ¿Cierto? Here in Colombia, we say, I live in an apartment. Yo vivo en un apartamento. ¿Okay? Entonces, dependiendo del idioma, del acento, de la región, podemos utilizar palabras diferentes, pero es el mismo idioma. Now, we have the big differences which are related to pronunciation. We have to take into account, you have to be very careful. Pay attention to the pronunciation of these words.
Pronunciation differences. Herb,
Herb.
tap water,
Tap water.
banana,
Banana.
vitamin,
Vitamin.
gray vase,
Grey vase.
Okay,
spelling difference.
did you hear the differences? The same word, but it's pronounced different.
Tap. Herb.
For example, in this one, the American people doesn't pronounce the H. British people, they pronounce the H like herb, no? In American, herb. In British, herb. Let's listen.
Herb.
Herb.
Tap water,
Tap water.
banana,
This is very, very common, and it's one of the classical examples, no? The classical examples in order to explain the difference regarding pronunciation. This word, in American English, we say water, 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 okay? This T is like an R, water, water. Casi que la pronunciamos como eso, es como una R, water, in American English. In British English, we say water, water, completely different. Completely different. Ambas son correctas, ambas están bien, pero entonces si nosotros escuchamos a una persona que dice water, I need a water, I need a glass of water, I need some water, entonces ya identificamos nosotros que esa persona tiene un acento británico. Entonces escuchamos a alguien que dice water, I need a water, I need a glass of water, I need a bottle of water. Sabemos que es americano, ¿sí? It's a very classical example about the difference between American and British pronunciation. And the pronunciation, as I have said previously, it's quite difficult. The British pronunciation is quite difficult. Okay, let's continue.
banana,
Banana.
In this one, we pronounce the same, banana, banana. But the emphasis is different. In one, the emphasis is in the first letter, banana. The other is in the second, banana. Banana, banana. Okay? It's like in the difference, for example, when you find a word like this one, the state, one of the states of the United States. In Spanish, nosotros podríamos decir Florida, ¿no? Florida. Nosotros hacemos énfasis acá. En Estados Unidos, cuando lo pronuncian, le hacen énfasis en la primera, Florida, Florida, ¿ok? Florida. Nosotros decimos en español Florida, ellos say Florida, ¿ok? So in this banana happens the same, okay? The emphasis of the pronunciation is in a different syllable, okay?
vitamin,
Vitamin.
Okay, look at this. The word the same, vitamin, but vitamin or vitamin. And there are many words like this one, many examples. Like this. You can pronounce director or you can pronounce director. And both are correct. Director, director. Like vitamin, 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 vitamin. And both are correct. So maybe you are going to listen to a person saying, the director of my university is, or another person who says the director of my university is, and both of them are correct. You have to learn that. Both pronunciations are correct. You are not going to say, oh, that man is pronouncing wrong. No. Vitamin, vitamin, director, direct. And there are many words like this, okay? Another one, this gray.
Gray vase.
Grey vase.
Yeah. Here, vase in American, vase in British. And we have here another difference. How to write gray, gray, the color. Okay? In American English, the color is with A. In British English, the color is with E. Okay?
Spelling differences.
And this is the last example, the last group of examples. The differences are related to spelling.
American English versus
How to write the word.
spelling differences.
Look at this.
Organize.
Look at this. We can write with C or with S. The word organize, you can write that word with Z or with S, and both of them are correct. Okay.
Organize.
Analyze.
Analyze.
Another example. Analyze with
American
C
English
or
versus
S. Oh my God. What happened here? This one.
favorite flavor.
Favorite flavor.
Favorite only with O or favorite with OU. Flavor only with O or flavor with OU.
Color.
Color.
The same example.
Art center.
Okay, this one. Look at the final letter, center, ER. In British English, is the opposite, RE. Maybe the pronunciation is the same, R center, but the spelling is different, ER-RE. But both of them
Art center.
American English words usually have OR, ER, ZE endings, while British English words often have OUR, RE, SE endings. These differences are not strict rules, and there are some exceptions. Please don't forget.
Okay, so when I'm sharing with you this this video, it's because we are starting our session of It's Time to Talk, and you can find and you have to understand that maybe I can say one day vitamin, or another day I'm going to say vitamin. And you are not going to think, oh, the teacher is wrong. No. We can pronounce those words two ways, and both of them are correct. Es importante que ustedes tengan en cuenta esto, porque puede que hasta yo mismo un día pronuncie director y otro día pronuncie director. Y ambas están bien. Y ustedes que están ya escuchando, ustedes van mejorando su proceso de escucha y van identificando este tipo de cosas, ¿no? Pero no van a decir, es que lo pronunció mal, es que lo pronunció bien. No, es que las dos formas son posibles. ¿Ustedes han entendido eso? Tengan bien en cuenta eso. Y si ven que como también hasta las palabras se pueden escribir de dos maneras y ambas son correctas. You can say organize and you can say organize. The pronunciation is the same, organize, organize. But one is with Z, the other is with S. ¿Okay? Esta vez vamos a encontrar palabras así. Y nosotros cuando escribimos podemos escribir cualquiera de las dos. ¿Okay? Ya no se hace como esa separación de que, bueno, le voy a evaluar, pero le voy a hablar inglés británico, le voy a hablar inglés americano. You puede utilizar cualquiera de los dos. When you are speaking, when you are writing, you can use one of them. It doesn't matter which one. You can use one of them. It doesn't matter if you are using American or you're using British. Okay, that's very important to take into account that the difference, to know the difference, but to know that you can use any of them. Cualquiera de los dos, ¿no? Cualquiera de los dos. Los pueden mezclar, ¿no? Es que van a decir, si yo estoy usando inglés británico, entonces tengo que utilizar esta nada más. O yo estoy usando inglés americano, entonces tengo que pronunciarlo así. No. Both of them are correct and you are speaking in English. You can use in a moment British English and in another moment you can use American English. And that's okay. That's perfect. Okay. Do you have any questions about this video?
No, but for me, it was important because I didn't know this information, and it's important to have this information to practice and for expressing the ideas.
Yes. Okay. Chiara, did you know the differences between American and British English?
Absolutely, teacher. I understand it more for some movies that I have seen in Netflix, and I realized it, the big difference, especially with the accent. And I would like to learn more about British accent, but of course it requires time to understand, and of course those people speak very fast. So it's important to stay comfortable with the language.
Yes. For example, you have already say the word. This is a word. Look at this word. This word you can pronounce in two ways: comfortable, or comfortable. You can listen both pronunciation, comfortable or comfortable. Comfortable or comfortable. The difference is the same. American English, they say comfortable. British English, they say comfortable. But both of them are correct. So that's why you have to understand, you have to know the difference, and you have to understand that you can pronounce comfortable, but both of them are correct. We're going to listen to an audio, and the man says, oh, comfortable, perfect. Or the man says comfortable, perfect. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's why I'm going to share with you a page that I frequently used. Let me see here. I'm going to use a word reference. Nowadays, we have the opportunity to have some resources, some online resources like this one, the word reference. The word reference is an online dictionary. That you are learning English, you can use this type of resources, online dictionary. I know that you can have access to online translators, but I don't think it's a good idea to use online translators, okay? Because if you are learning a language, it's important to learn, But if you are using an online translator, you are not learning. You are not learning because you are not doing the process. So, for example, I have this one, word reference, and you can change here the language. For example, inglés-español, español-inglés, español-francés, different language. Or you can change español-inglés, no? English, inglés-español, español-inglés. For example, I'm going to work for a word like this one. This the traditional example, this one. And here we have the word, we have the meaning, this one, agua, okay, agua. And the same word has another meaning, regar, okay? Take into account that. For example, I say, I am drinking a glass of water. And I have another sentence saying, I'm watering the plants. And this is an example of a previous answer of Kiara, no? Example, I am drinking a glass of water. I am watering the plants, okay? Here, water means the liquid, no? The liquid. I am drinking a glass of water. But here, water has a different meaning. And how do we understand and how to realize the correct meaning here? By means or because of the context. Taking into account the context of this sentence. Here, watering means regar. Look at this, regar. I am watering the plants, estoy regando las plantas. Okay, so water, the liquid, and water to put water into the plants. Okay. And what else can we find here in this resource word reference? We can have the different meanings. We can have let me see, this one, expressions. A fish out of water. And it means pez fuera del agua. Okay? We can find here expressions, typical expressions in English that you have to learn, that you can use. Water aerobics, water wings, for example, manguitos, look at this. So we can find different things here, and you can listen to the word.
Water.
Okay, you can listen to the word. And besides of that, you can change the accent. Look at this. There are too many accents. UK, US, UK, RP, UK, Yorkshire, UK, Scottish, UK, Southern, Irish, Jamaican. There are many accents. All of these UK, United Kingdom. Pues que en el Reino Unido, ustedes saben que el Reino Unido está conformado por varios países, como es Inglaterra, como es Irlanda, como es Gales. Cada uno tiene su acento. Dentro del Reino Unido, cada uno tiene su acento. Esto es lo mismo que pasa en Colombia. Todos hablamos español, pero unos hablan paisa, otros hablan costeño. Eso me pasa lo mismo. Y hay unos de estos que son dificilísimos de entender. Por ejemplo, Jamaican. There is an accent. Jamaican accent. Este es el acento de las personas de Jamaica, pero es también complicado porque ellos hablan muy rápido. Too fast. They speak too fast. They make too many contractions. They make too many contractions. Ellos hablan muy rápido, hacen muchas contracciones, es decir, unen palabras. Entonces, ese es un acento muy difícil. Mira. Entonces, you can use US.
Water.
Water. And you can use UK.
Water. Water. Water.
Water. Water.
Water.
So this is a very useful resource, the word reference, and I suggest you to use a resource like this. There are too many online dictionaries that you can use. So you are going to know the meaning, the different meanings of a word. You are going to learn expressions, typical expressions in English, and you are going to learn the pronunciation regarding the accents, the different accents, and it's very, very useful. And remember, I don't suggest you to use the online translator because it's not a good resource. I have to say that the online translator are very, very, very good nowadays. Nowadays, the online translators are good, but very good. But you are learning a language like English, you are not going to use those online translation because you are not going to do anything. Okay, you have to take the time in order to translate the words, the sentence, because that's the real process. Okay, so when you need you are going to find or you are going to look for the meaning of a word, you can use this word reference. There are another useful resource like this one is this, and this is related or it's a good resource for you to know or to learn the pronunciation. This is a resource to improve your English pronunciation. You can write words, for example, water, or you can write sentences. Only the glass. Here. A glass of water. Okay. And here you are going to listen. You are going to listen to the English pronunciation or the British pronunciation. You're going to find here some typical expressions in English, okay? Like this.
Do you speak English? Or do you speak English?
Okay. You're going to find typical words or common expressions in English and its pronunciation, okay? You can write the sentence and you're going to listen to the pronunciation of that sentence, or you can find here expressions in English. And
do you happen to?
For example, do you happen to? Do you happen to? Okay. Don't do it. Do you mind? Do you have?
Do you mind? Or do you mind?
For example, do you mind? Usted va a preguntar si a usted le importa o le interesa algo. Do you mind? For example, do you mind to open the door? ¿Le importa abrir la puerta? Do you mind to open the door? Do you mind to open the window? Okay. And here you can find the expression and you can find the pronunciation. Okay. And you can find the meaning, ¿no? Do you mind? Se puede traducir como te importa, te molesta. Okay. That's what we can do in this kind of resources. There are too many online resources. Okay.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
teacher. I have a little question.
Yes.
Don't you mind is like the most educated or educated way to say
Yes.
that
Polite. It's very
care?
polite. Yes, it's very polite to say, do you
Polite,
mind?
okay.
Polite. Yes. Remember that in English there are two different uses of the language. There is one which is formal, another which is informal, no? Formal and informal. For example, when you are talking to a friend, You say hi, say what's up. But if you are talking to a teacher, to the director of the high school, you're not going to say hi. You're not going to say what's up. No, you're going to say good morning, good afternoon, how are you? No? It's important to take into account that difference too, ¿no? En inglés también debemos tener en cuenta ese contexto en el cual estamos, porque dependiendo del contexto utilizamos un lenguaje formal o un lenguaje informal. Y hay frases, expresiones para cada uno de ellos, ¿ok? Es, por ejemplo, do you mind? Es algo muy polite, muy cortés, es decir, ¿no? Le importa. Y hay, como decía Kiara, hay otra forma de decir es el care, ¿no? Por ejemplo, cuando I say, I don't care, no me importa, no me interesa. Pero ya no lo va a decir usted con en el contexto formal, sino en el informal. I don't care, no me interesa, no me importa, I don't care. Okay? And the question, do you care? ¿Cierto? But the polite way is, do you mind? Okay, is there another question? And I'm sharing with you this type of resources, of online resources, because you can take advantage of these resources. Okay, you can take advantage of the resources. You can learn about English using these resources. Hoy en día hay muchos recursos que nosotros podemos utilizar. Entonces, estos son algunos y por eso los comparto a ustedes. Y eso sí que quede claro. Las traductoras en línea son excelentes. O sea, es una herramienta buenísima que hoy en día. Pero si nosotros estamos aprendiendo un idioma y estamos utilizando el traductor en línea, pues no estamos engañando, ¿no? Ahí sí no. Ese sí, para ustedes que están aprendiendo en línea, no lo recomiendo. Utilizar el diccionario en línea, este tipo de herramientas y muchas otras que también yo les puedo estar compartiendo, es buenísimo, porque ustedes están aprendiendo. Entonces, okay, I'm going to stop sharing, and that's all for today. I hope you can take advantage of the session and see you next Thursday at 7 p.m. if you are free. Okay. Si puede, entonces nos vemos el jueves 7 de la noche para otra sesión de It's Time to Talk. So, have a good day, have a good rest of the day, a good lunch. Erica, you have a question?
Yes. Jorge, I have this question. Some exercises I try to resolve to answer the exercises, but in some specific points I don't understand, and the answer is wrong in some points, and I don't understand why. In these points, I send you the question by mail or
Yes.
what
By
is
internal mail. You can send me the questions by internal mail, and you can send me the
yes.
screenshots. You can send me the
Okay.
screenshots of exercise that
Yes.
you can do, and I'm going to give you back the screenshots with the exercise correctly done. Okay.
Okay, teacher. Thank you.
Okay. So bye, guys. Have a good day.
Bye. Thank
Have a good
you.
lunch.
Thank
Have a
you,
good lunch.
teacher.
Thanks, teacher. Goodbye.